In 1968, I went to a community college. I had never dared date a girl before then. And I finally got up my nerve and asked a pretty little girl in my choir to go out with me. And the song on the radio that time was "You Heard It Through the Grapevine" by Marvin Gaye, which I liked a lot until she dumped me. And then it became kind of an anthem of failure. And I couldn't stand it. I turned the radio off when it came on. 5 years later, I was in graduate school at the University of Iowa, and I was starting to smoke dope, and I bought the album "Let's Get It On" by Marvin Gaye. And I wrote plays while stoned, and I wrote a play about Marvin Gaye going to a diplomatic conference in Sweden called "The Swedish Ambassador's Wife," and it got produced and was a success. A few years after that, I was in Duck's Breath, a comedy troupe, and we were in Los Angeles doing business, and Marvin Gaye had been killed by his father. And his wake was at Forest Lawn Cemetery, which was right next to the hotel I was staying at. So I went to Marvin Gaye's wake, and I waited in line with 100,000 people. I was the only white person in line, and filed by his coffin, which was in a tiny little chapel. And he was so beautiful lying there in a Sergeant Pepper jacket, just like the Beatles were wearing in Sergeant Pepper, with a big cowl of leopard skin behind him. He looked like an African prince. I burst into tears. And I filed by his coffin and looked in his handsome face. And a few minutes later, I was out in the cemetery, forest lawn, blinking in the sunlight.